Good morning. Welcome to Game Tactical Tuesday. I am your host, Justin Myers. I'm joined by my co-host, Drew Sorsky. Tell them what's good, Drew.
Everything's good, brother. We're here, we're alive, and we're all together. Let's make it happen.
I love it. Today, we are joined by a good friend of mine. One of my favorite things about Tactical Tuesday is getting to introduce you to the friends I've got to make over the years in the real estate industry. This is my friend, Daryn Vucelik.
Good
Daryn is
morning.
from Hilton Head. And I met Daryn because, I was in that agent investing world, and Daryn was somebody who wasn't in active production and very much was already far down the path of being an investor, working on the income flip, buying income properties, right?
Yep.
To the income flip is when we get enough passive income, right, to fund our life. And Daryn was well on that way when she was in a non-production recruiting leadership role. And then I saw her go on and do more of that, and now Daryn is working, for one of the best teams, sharpest teams in the country, running that kind of agent investor play, facing the market with a cash offer. Daryn, where have you ended up now? Because you have had a number of roles. You've worked
Yeah.
across the country. What are you doing now?
Yeah, and it all came full circle. I'm back where I started on Hilton Head Island. And so I actually like backed into real estate doing everything but working with buyers and sellers. So I started at the front desk of a large brokerage, and I was one of those people who just kept raising my hand and kept being in the right place at the right time. And my persistence stumbled me into leadership of that office, which was an incredible opportunity. And I will tell you guys, if you are whether an agent, an investor, or any human, I think that on some level, imposter syndrome is something that I've experienced. It's crept into my life in many different ways. And I remember a time when they asked me to run that office, and I was 26 years old. I'd never sold a house before, and I literally, when they asked me, I like looked over my shoulder and was like, "Are you talking to me? Like, you want me to be in charge of this? Like, what? Shouldn't you hire a grown up to do that? What are you doing?" Um, and I remember just thinking, I just have to try. Like I have to try, and that's how I'm gonna figure it out. And that's kind of been my motto throughout my entire career is we just gotta try. You can do all of the studying, you can do all of the observing until you actually put something into practice. You're not gonna know how it works. You're not gonna know if you have the capability. So I ran that office for about 4 years, and then I had the opportunity to partner with an agent out of Arizona who was launching a national expansion brand. I traveled around with him. He was huge in the investment space, and I helped grow his expansion network. We grew to the number five or four or five team expansion network within the Keller Williams system. And then I just realized I missed the beach too much. So you guys might not know this, but in Arizona, there's no beaches there. There's no ocean, like very brown. So I had to get back to Hilton Head, and I'm working now with the Joan Kelly Group. We're a team of a small but mighty team, 10 agents. We'll do about 200 units this year for I don't know, maybe 125 million in volume. So that's who we are. That's what we do. And I'm actually still, Justin, pretty much out of production, and just now at this point in my career, almost 10 years later, I'm just now spending significant time with buyers and sellers just because my curiosity got the best of me, and I wanted to hear what sellers actually had to say. So that's where I'm at right now.
I love this. Drew, I know you always have some great questions. What I'd like to start with then, because there's many paths to the same goal, is what do you want to, I'm curious about how you tell us about buying your first investment property. We'll get into running this cash offer play at a high level, but
Mhm.
what did that look like for you? Because we talk
Yeah.
about building a cash machine to
Mhm.
fund our wealth machine, and your cash machine was that team leader recruiting role. But what it looked like, what inspired you to get into like I'm going to buy a house and start buying investment property?
hmm it all started with my personal residence, like is really where my real estate career, and for most of us, right? Like that's the first property a lot of us buy. And I was living in this little condo, and I had made some upgrades, and the value had gone up pretty significantly. And I realized, as I was kind of aggressively paying it down, when I owed very little on it, I thought, I could refi a big chunk of this and go buy something cash. And for some reason, at that point in my career, I'm thinking like I need cash. I don't want to get into the debt game, which I totally flip-flopped on that now. But at that time, I wanted to have the cash. So I did a a burr pretty much. I burred it, but I was living in it, right? So I bought it, I rehabbed it, I refied it. I took that money and I went and bought my first another little condo, $160,000, and it was just a little two bedroom. And again, it was very like my knowledge was so little. I had heard about this 1% rule. You know, if you can rent it for 1% of the total purchase price monthly, then you're going to be pretty safe. And I thought, okay, I know this area. I know this place will rent for about $1,800 a month. I know I can buy it for, a buck 60. So let's try it. And I tried it. And I still have the same renter in place that was 5 years ago. Awesome renter, pays on time. It's a great little cash flowing machine. So that's what, again, when I say like you just have to do the thing, I could have probably spent another 3 or 4 years learning about it and feeling more confident because I didn't feel totally confident when I went into it. But I knew the only way I was going to figure out this investing thing was by investing. So that was where I started. Since then, I've worked with a couple kind of major players who are in the multifamily spaces. I know where I live locally, I have a couple great friends who have built really cool small portfolios of short-term rentals. Again, being at the beach, that's really big here. So yeah, I think one thing I've learned from it, and I know you're not asking this, but it's coming to my mind, so I want to share it, is that I think a lot of people are looking for like, well, just tell me exactly what to do. Just tell me if I do XYZ, it'll work and it'll be perfect. There is no XYZ for everyone, right? Like your XYZ looks different than mine because you and I have different numbers that we need in our bank account to be able to sleep well at night. And we have different numbers that we're okay with like making on our spread, right? Like it's all different. And so you have to take the time to do your soul searching and figure out what you're comfortable with. And again, when I started, I wanted to buy it cash. I didn't want the debt. I needed it to be like pure cash flow. I'm at a very different place right now where I'm willing to invest in things that just break even because if I'm gonna look at it from a different approach and have a different strategy, if the goal is different, then that's okay. But I'm at a different place now.
Well, I love that, Drew. Great Cleveland. I was talking to our friends Aaron and Wayne there, and they were talking about what's your investor identity? Are you a buy and hold investor? Are you an appreciation investor? Are you a cash flow investor? Right.
Hmm.
And I love Rob in the comments saying, yeah, yes. Yeah, I love it. Gotta outwork your fears and take action. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes ready, shoot, aim works.
Sometimes it does. And again, it's different for everybody, right? Like I know some people, I also find it interesting to work with investors who are not so intimately involved in the real estate space. Like this is our day job, right? Like we know it really well. We're in it. We're not afraid. I have friends who are dentists and engineers and doctors, and they want to get into the investing space. Totally different approach. They might not feel so comfortable just like throwing money at something, but there's great ways to partner with those people, right? Those are great hard money lenders. They want to put their money to work, but they want a low risk, predictable return. Those are great partners for me. That's what I'm looking for.
So speaking of cash investors, I think it's a great segue. Do you want to talk about the cash offer at like a macro level? And then we can talk about like we'll get into specifically how you're doing it because you're doing it at volume. And sometimes we like to talk to people. Scale, reveals systems.
Mhm.
Scale gives us like some insight. We run this play as well. And I love seeing someone that I know running it at a high level. Why should I even care about a cash offer? I'm an agent. Like, what is this relevant to me?
Yeah.
Why does the consumer care about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For us, I think it's important to start this conversation knowing that the most important thing to us is the service that we provide our buyers and sellers. And if we come from it from that perspective, then of course a cash offer is important to you. Because there are sellers out there who need the money now. They need a quick closing. That's what they need. And I want to be able to provide the solution for every seller that I come across, right? So it's just a tool in my tool belt. It's an arrow in my quiver. And it also, for you guys as agents, does not matter if you are a huge team, a solo agent, an investor yourself, or need to find someone with the cash. I assure you, there is someone out there who will buy a home for cash today. Like if it's not you, there's someone in your network, there's someone on this call who will come fund that investment for you. right? Like call me if you need somebody, so we'll figure it out. But it's so important because it opens more doors for you to have more conversations with sellers, period. And I will tell you guys, the market that I work in is a pretty high net worth, financially savvy area. Like we are a lot of vacation homes, second homes, retirement homes. I don't have a lot of people, a lot of first time buyers in this area. It's just not our market. And even then, there are people who need the cash offer. Life happens, right? The other cool thing about a cash offer and why I think it's important is it might tee up some perspective to help a seller understand why the cash offer is not what they need. They really need your help renovating the house to get it on the market and make more money, right? We just had that instance with one of our sellers who cash offer was between 400 and 450. And he knew that he got it from us, he got it from other people. And he said, well, we said, let's talk about some other options. That's just one option. This is his parents' home. His dad had passed away. Mom was moving into memory care. He didn't live locally. So again, the cash offer was attractive to him, right? That's what initially drew him in because he thought, I don't want to keep driving up here from Florida and have to figure this out, right? So he's got that cash offer on the table. We'll call it 450. And we said, hey, I want you to know that this home with a couple updates will sell around in the high 600s. Okay. Like we can get you at 690, 699. And he said,
Mhm.
okay, let's talk about that. So we talked about the plan. He had a little bit of cash to put into it. He made some upgrades, and I will tell you guys this is so important when you're talking to sellers. He had a list of upgrades in his mind that needed to be made. They were not the upgrades that we encouraged him to make and that he ended up making. Sometimes sellers have this idea like, oh, if I, have the ductwork cleaned, that's really going to sell the house. And I'm like, no one can see that. No one's going to walk in here. Let's like redo the floors. Let's do something. Let's paint the walls. Let's do a couple of things, that can make it really, really attractive. So we did these upgrades. He's under contract now. Before it even hit the market, we went under contract in delay at 715. So we went from 450 to
Oh,
715.
yes.
That's life
Yeah.
changing for him, right? That's huge. For every dollar that he spent, he made back about three and a half. So again, he had to put some money into it, but it made sense for him. He's now our number one fan. He's raving to us for everyone on the street. So from the sales perspective, not just the investor perspective, sure, we could have come in there, got it at 450 and made that money for us. I have no qualms and I never think like, oh man, I wish I would have got that deal. I think, oh my gosh, how cool that I have this raving fan who got a bunch of money in his pocket and is going to tell everyone about this service. That's why you
Well,
should
yeah.
care.
I love it. I love it. Drew, what questions do you have about? I love that Drew keeps it tactical about the cash offer. Let's unpack this thing. Let's break this down into I think maybe a quick overview and then we can go deep.
So the first question I have is if someone's a new agent, right? How would they learn to calculate that cash offer and what it might be when they go on the listing appointment? Are you guys walking in there with a number when you go in?
I love this question, Drew, and it's something that I probably could learn a little bit more leverage, but I just love it, love the game too much. So we actually let our agents, we say I don't want you to be a wholesaler. I don't want you to be like I want you to be an agent. So offer the tool, offer, the cash offer, and you can say, I have a buyer who could bring you a cash offer within 48 hours. And they'll get you, we can get a number in 48 hours if that's what you're interested in. I know there are other teams that train their agents on making that cash offer. For us, just the way that we work, it didn't make sense to do it that way. With me being out of production, I have the time and I love to jump into those conversations. So they make the phone call, right? And then they're chatting with me about here's the condition of the house. They're gonna send me some pictures. I like to come do a walkthrough, and it's time and time again, it shakes out to be between 65, maybe 70% of ARV. Like that's just where we land. Um, that's the number that we use. That said, if we know that there's, significant structural issues that can change things, if we know that there's, it was built in a certain time period and we're going to have to replace polybutylene pipes, then we make adjustments for that. So we have kind of our quick list that we go through. Um, and I'm just putting eyeballs on the house. Like I'm not getting an inspector in there. I'm just making my, putting my number out there. I've built in a little bit of a buffer so that I know even if I had some things crop up that I would survive. I would make it out on the other side. And this is another thing, Drew, that I have found. It's a skill. Like to speak to what Rob said, like you just had to put the reps in. The first couple times, if you're out there making cash offers on your own, it might take you a little bit longer. You might take a little more time going through your checklist. You might take a little more time understanding like what does a new roof cost in this area? Like what does it cost to replace that polybutylene piping? And once you've done that a couple times or you've flipped a couple homes and you've gotten the quotes, you know who your guy is, you know who you're going to call to say, "Hey, I know you can do floors for, $5 a square foot installed." Awesome. That's my LVP guy. Like that's who I'm calling. So now that I've done it enough times, I can walk in and like really quickly and easily say, "This is what it's going to cost." Yeah.
That's awesome. So from the agent side, right? If I was your agent and I walk in on a listing appointment, one of mine, and the client wants a cash offer, what would that how would that benefit me as the agent to go in there and get you, and then you give them a cash offer, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I just shot myself in the foot.
Yeah, we actually, this is a cool thing because we want our agents to win big here. We give them a little finder's fee up front, but then we also let them list the house once it's repaired, right? So it's like you can list this house in like crappy condition and sell it for 450, or you can list it when it's renovated and sell it for 700.
I love it. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And that's again, talk to your team, whether you're a team leader or a team agent, there are wins here to be had by everyone. Like it should not be a one person victory party. Like everyone can win. I also think again, as the agent, it makes you look like a rock star because you're the one bringing the tool. Like how fun is it to be able to say, you know what? I think I have a buyer for you. Let me make a quick phone call. Like let me step out and make a 5 minute phone call. I might be able to have them over here and make you an offer in the next 20 minutes.
Definitely problem solving.
That's right.
Are you, in terms of attraction, are you, marketing the cash offer? Are you adding it as an additional option when you come out there and speak with them?
I love that question. And it's a little bit of both. Historically, it's been once we're speaking with you, and we've gotten more aggressive now in terms of putting the call out there. I know that it's something that clients see, right? They see it on billboards on the side of the road. They see it on Facebook ads. They see it from, I think they're seeing it from Zillow now. Like it's everywhere. So we find it to be more impactful face to face, like in the real conversation. And we even find, sometimes you walk through a home that's like beautifully renovated and like they have all the time in the world to sell. We still bring it up because we want them to know in case they have a friend or a family member or a neighbor who needs that service. We always bring it up. It's just in the listing packet when we're going through, right? Instant cash offer. We can provide you a cash offer in 48 hours, quick close, no nonsense. Like if you need to move quickly, this is the move for you. And I noticed also, I think Rob put this in the chat up there, the renovate now, pay at closing. We do that as well. That's it. That's exactly what we do that too. And I've seen this structured different ways, but for some people, they don't want like either end of the spectrum. They don't want the instant cash offer. They don't want to do the work themselves. They're somewhere in between. The way we structure that deal is it's a commission difference for us. I know other people do, a percentage of the money that you've lent and they're getting a certain return on that money. There's a lot of ways to shake it out, but it comes back to what's the right answer for the seller? What do they need? What problem can I solve for them? Yep.
And in my experience, is this true for you? One of the reason I know when I've had this conversation that we move some people to a commission difference
Mhm.
versus like a fee difference,
Mhm.
as you can quickly get into sort of usury laws in your state or the percentage you would charge for the amount of time you're lending that money.
Mhm.
It's not a great structure, right, for that client versus just a hey, we're charging a fee for a service, disclosing it all up front, but you don't run into the same sort of challenges.
Yes. And am I allowed to use numbers on this podcast or to this conversation? Can I talk about real numbers? Okay. We add a point to our typical commission. So we add a percent if we're loaning you money, and it's so you're getting one additional percent of the total sale price. And also with our renovate now, pay at closing, we're picking the renovations, right? So we are not like you, because again, there are clients who we had a client recently who just thought like his perfectly fine windows needed upgraded with like $40,000 hurricane impact resistant windows, which is fine. I know in South Carolina, inland, like that's not going to sell a house. So again, we can kind of redirect things. Like maybe instead of painting the exterior, we can do the new floors because I think the exterior is in okay shape and I think your carpet's kind of gross. So let's lay new floors, and I think that'll be a better way to invest the money.
Yeah. And I love Rob sharing some of that. The caveat for anyone on this, as we all know, right, is commission is 100% negotiable. There's no standard commission. And many of us have moved to a menu of services and let the client choose what services and what commission structure best serves them, like choice. Um, One of the big things, just to pin this on, why so many people, if you look at Mark Spain is I think the biggest individual agent brokerage in the country, was the biggest individual agent down in the Atlanta area. He's rolled into some other markets. I don't know if he's in your market. I know he's in some South Carolina markets. He's in Chattanooga. He's in Nashville. It was all just cash offer,
Mhm.
leading with the cash offer. And if you're ever curious, go to Open Door, go to OfferPad. When we're looking at marketing, we're talking about like our headline, what's above the fold. So right when you go on the page on your laptop, what do you see and how are they communicating convenience? You
Yep.
know, are do you have any stories of people that have taken a cash offer that have surprised you in the other direction? I love that we're adding value and we're putting more money in our client's pocket. That
Mhm.
gets me really, really excited. As a fiduciary, that gets me, that's why I got into real estate
Great.
sales. I had no idea how to sell like cars or something. I'm like, I don't know how to negotiate with Drew. Like this makes me very uncomfortable, but like putting money in Drew's pocket, oh, I can get fired up about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That
This
fires
Yeah,
me up too.
exactly. But
You
have
put
you had
money in
people
my
go where I
pocket.
come up to Daryn and I was like, give a beautiful home. We could go on we could do some things. And they're like, no, 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 just give me the cash.
Yeah. This is my favorite story about this is actually it was one of my partner agents through the expansion network. They walked their home. They said, about 400,000 we could go on the market like and sell quickly. Like that's a good number. And then they talked through, or we can do cash offer. We can talk about that. Husband and wife like went into the kitchen, had a little debate. Then they come back out and they said, you mentioned a cash offer. Would you just take it off our hands for 300,000 today? And this is my partner agent, like they're in there, they're like, yeah, like absolutely, trying not to look like that's crazy. And it turns out for that couple, they owned quite a few firearms in the house, that maybe weren't necessarily adequately secured, and they felt it was going to be a big liability and a big time suck for them to, get these things cleaned up and out of the house. And it was just more important for them to not have showings. So it was worth $100,000 to them or close to it, to just walk away. And literally, the agents, I can't even really call it a flip. Like they cleaned it up and then they put it on the market, right? And that was the sellers asked for it. The agent didn't even have to like, I think it's really important that people know, we don't know what's going on in people's backgrounds. Like you don't know what's happening in the background of their life, what's happening in their home. And I think where we start to get into trouble is when we start making assumptions about who wants a cash offer or why they want it or why it's valuable. Absolutely. Our opinion, our perspective, it doesn't really matter because it's not our house, it's not our money. And it might not be
Mhm.
something that I would say yes to, but there's a lot of things that other people say yes to that I wouldn't, right? So it's okay. We also like more recently we walked through, I don't know, I thought this was interesting. We walked through a house last night actually. And the seller it's in pre-foreclosure. Like she's headed to foreclosure. And I will tell you guys, if you've been to foreclosure auctions, you've dealt with homes in foreclosure, we bought a couple now. It's not, I just feel deeply for these people. I think I wish I would have gotten to talk to you sooner. And a lot of them, like I've called you, I've sent you messages, and I've, sent you mailers, and you never answered, and now you've foreclosed, and now that's on your record forever, or for 10 years, and now that's going to inhibit the purchase of your next home. Anyways, so we try to catch people before it gets there. And we recently, well, actually, this is several months ago now. We've already closed on the house. We had a home that it was a vacation home, like it was a second home, and the seller had entered pre-foreclosure, and we were able to connect with her, and she didn't owe very much on the home. And the way we approached it, rather than making an offer, our question was, how much money do you want to put in your pocket? Like, how much money do you want to put in your pocket to walk away from this and be happy? And she gave us her number. She wanted $60,000. And we said, okay, how about this? We make sure you put $60,000 in your pocket. We give you 6 weeks to get everything out because you're not here. You need to like come down. She needed time. She was older. We're going to help you sell the car that's in the garage. We're going to connect you with these people who will come box up your stuff. I mean, these are a lot of things that we're doing for her, right? And she said, okay, let's do it. We got on the phone with the mortgage company. We said, we're going to make this happen. So ended up being the total purchase price was 260. She owed 200. We gave her 60, right? Bought it for 260. And we ended up selling for 399. And no, again, no renovation. Like we just cleaned up the house. We had to get water and electric turned back on and sold it. Um, so yes, that was great for us. It was a huge win for us financially. But we asked her, we said, what do you want? Like, what do you need out of this? She needed time. She needed help boxing her things. She needed someone to help sell the car because she wasn't local. And that was the solution. Yeah. Oh, thanks,
I
Laura.
love
I
it.
love telling stories. We're problem solvers. That's exactly it. That's all the cash offer is. That's all Renovate Now, Pay at Closing is. It's solutions to people's problems. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. Drewski, here's if we're new, I'd love to hit both of these before we wrap up here. Would be what if I'm a single agent and
Mhm.
I want to add cash offer as an arrow in my quiver.
Mhm.
Can we talk through that? And then can we talk through if I'm a team, what does it look like to run this, build a division, do it like at volume like you're doing it? So if I'm brand new, how would you go if you, hey, I'm ready to go solo. I'm gonna run this play. I want to run a cash offer play. What would you use? What tools would you use?
Yeah, my step one would be find your funding. Make sure you find your funding. And that doesn't, you might have multiple sources. You can literally blast this to your database, like who's looking to invest in real estate, right? Like there are people out there who want to invest, they don't know how. You can bring the knowledge. Look at that, Rob in the chat. Grid wants to invest. They want to buy the houses that you find. Okay. So there you go. Check that off the list. You've got your funding. And then number two, start underwriting deals. You will underwrite 100 deals before you ever actually buy one, or I think you should, right? This is like it's like game night at my house. We just underwrite deals and we say what would we have had to pay on that one in order to make a profit, to make that make sense.
Boy, I love it. So you're doing what I've talked about doing is a game film. I can go underwrite a deal that's already sold.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes it helps
Yes.
if it's already sold because now you're going, okay, well, that's the actual ARV. So where would I have had to put my offer in for that to make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Or if I'm looking in a neighborhood, maybe I go see, well, how many opportunities are there like this year that have come up where, oh, I would have bought that one at that price.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
exactly it. And the more you start thinking about that, the more you're going to start doing exactly what, if it's Cherie, if I'm saying that correctly, you've got to make the offers. You've got to make the
Okay.
offers. In my small group of agents that I talk with regularly who are doing this, we're seeing about one out of every 15 offers that we make gets accepted. Your number
All right.
might be different at first, but
So
that's
sweet. So you find your funding, which could be going to like Grid. Like I'm in Charleston right now. We've got Grid Charleston tonight. We're talking about show me the money. So find some funding, which could be like a partner.
yep.
Also, by the way, agents on this call, DM, hey, drop in the chat if you're on this call and you are willing to fund a cash offer, drop it in there. Like let's don't make this overcomplicated. Do you use any institutional tools? Are you using something like a fellow or an open door or something as a cash offer in your quiver?
We use no, we do all private money and hard money. That's what makes
Yeah.
sense to us. I like the relational side of it and I like seeing my friends make money. So we like, investing in each other's deals. And
Yep.
again, I am in an area where I've got a lot of high net worth people who think they want to invest in real estate, but they don't maybe have the time or the energy or the knowledge to get into the nitty gritty. But if I call my dentist friend who's got an extra $250,000 sitting in a bank account making 3%, and I say, hey, would you like to let me borrow that money for 6 months and I can return it and we can make it 12%? Like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. He knows that math, he can figure out that much about real estate investing. So you find your funding, you start underwriting deals. I will tell you, we look at Zestimates because we know that sellers are looking at Zestimates. So I always want to know what the Zestimate is. And again, my offer usually is going to be 60 to 70% of that Zestimate. 70, maybe 75. But like that's it. And when I sit down, I use this language straight up. A cash offer is not going to be the same offer that you're going to get if we take it to the market. It is going to be less. Like, I want to be clear that this is going to be less money. So this is not the offer for you if what's most important to you is that you put max dollars in your pocket. This is most important. This is for the person who it's most important that they can move quickly, and they get cash now, that they don't have to make renovations, that they don't have maybe the wherewithal to go through the renovations. We don't try to sell it as something other than it is. But yeah, I forget who said it. Cherie, yeah, make the offers. Go put offers out there and know that you're gonna get rejected. Like, you're gonna get some no's. We put offers on things that are actively on the market, like that are, out there for everyone to see. And we make what some people would consider lowball offers. And as an agent, that was really hard for me to get over at first because I was like, I don't want to be the agent that's like making these lowball offers. Well, guess what? Somebody accepts one every now and then, right? And sometimes, those lowball offers help create perspective for a seller. And as a listing agent, sometimes I get that lowball offer and it's not a bad thing. It helps my seller see that, like, hey, maybe we are a little overpriced. Maybe we need to reconsider our pricing strategy. Yeah.
We borrowed a page. We did two things. Mike Zinicola, you might know. Mike runs the Easy Referral Network in Ohio, #1 expansion, 1 point KW. He said the nicest and best prepared agent in the market wins. And so he writes a really long offer letter laying out the rationale and showing the comps. Corey on my team has borrowed that, just bought one 82% of list price day one in our market, which is not like a market with maybe 3 months of inventory, but he totally spelled it out. He said, here's the after repair value. Here is my repair budget. And I need to make about this much money. He gave them all the numbers. He showed them an exact margin and they accepted it day one.
I love that so much. We just did that a couple weeks ago because it was one that was like on the market. I think it was listed at 535 and we were like, wow, I think we're going to be like 390, maybe 400, but we're going to make that offer. And as part of that offer, we included our breakdown. Because there are people out there who are like, I don't want someone to make money on my house. And it's like, well, I'm probably not making as much money as you think I'm making. And I'm going to spend this much money and this, 6 months getting it there. Right. So I think that transparency is huge. It gives you so much credibility, and especially for the people who don't take the cash offer, they go, wow, thank you for sharing. That's so interesting. Like, we are going to list, but this is really interesting. And thank you for being so honest with us.
Oh, I love that. True. What do you want to know?
So I always thought that new agents thought there's like a stigma behind the cash offer, right? That they don't make anything, or but the seller is going to get screwed over, right? And I think that once you remove that and you teach these people how to do more detailed analysis, I think the cash offer comes for the win most of the time. I just had a scenario where a client of mine called and wanted a cash offer from us because she was buying in an older community and she didn't want to unload anything. She didn't want to do any repairs. She didn't want a bunch of people walking through her house. And it was an option that I presented to her. And in 24 hours, we gave her an offer. She accepted. And now she's in her 55 and over community and she's happy. A newer agent may not have asked that. And I think that part of our training with newer agents needs to be to better ask better questions. I don't know. What do you think about, throwing that in there?
Absolutely. Ask better questions, ask more questions, ask more thoughtful questions. I think that we go in as agents trying to, sell ourselves or sell our services. And truly, I think I started with this. Like, if we come from it all from the perspective of we're here to solve problems, I always tell my new agents, you have two jobs, make friends and solve their problems. If you make
I
enough
love that.
friends and you solve enough of their problems, you're going to get everything that you want, right? So if you go into that appointment just asking questions, you're going to eventually uncover what their real need is. And honestly, a lot of the people that we talk to who are in that pre-foreclosure state, like they're not going to come right out the gate and say like, yeah, we're desperate for money, where, things are problematic. But I will tell you this, I had a major fear of calling pre-foreclosures. Like it was a little scary to me. I'm thinking like, why are they going to want to talk to me, a stranger on the phone about this intimate financial knowledge? I cannot tell you how many of them said, thank you so much for asking. I so appreciate, because I would just call and say, "Hey, my name's Daryn. I'm an agent in the area. I just saw your home, pop up on that pre-foreclosure list, and I was just wondering, do you have a plan to get that taken care of, or are you looking for some help?" Like that's literally it. Do you have a plan, or are you looking for some help? And it was, people would tell me so much more than I thought. And if I just ask enough questions, I mean, I've had people tell me all about the divorce and the ex and the, medical bills and whatever. And understanding that made me go really set my perspective in the right frame, because I would go, oh my gosh, these people need my help. I have to make these calls. Like these people need help, and there are not enough other agents calling them and asking questions and listening. So
I,
yeah,
I love I love that. One of the best talks I ever heard is a guy saying, "What's on the other side of that door?" And he was a door knocker, and he had a story about knocking on someone's door and asking the older woman to stop smoking inside the house. And Miss Virginia, just stop smoking overall, right? They did like a renovate now, pay later kind of program for her. But yeah, the job is to find people that need our help, not to convince Drew to do what I want him to do.
that's right. That's right.
No, I love that. Who's got, I think I've seen, this is one of the more active chats we've had in a while. Who's got some questions for Daryn? We can open this thing up. What I love, I would just share what I love about this is relational, like at scale, which is what we do at Grid, right? We are relational. We do this in game, relational at scale. We think it makes the most sense. It's not like an institution. You're not out here buying on behalf of a hedge fund or something. This is kind of common sense, and you're just doing it, training, building systems around it. How many will you buy? I have one to kick us off. How many will you buy this year as an organization, do you think? How many cash offers will y'all
We
successfully
have
ratify?
I'll tell you, our goal right now is to buy five more before the end of the year,
Okay.
through cash offers, and that will, yeah, we've done five so far. So,
Mhm.
trying to double it. And again, in my market, like, please know we make this offer all the time, and we don't have that many people who say yes, and that's okay. We still get to list their houses. Like, it's it's our market. Your market might look different, but you have to make the offers to get to
So
it.
Justin, I have a
10 and how many listing appointments you'll probably go on this year, you think?
Um, we we have taken 52. No, we've sold 52. I told you I would know these numbers, and I closed it out. We've sold 52
Oh, okay.
this year. I think we'll probably be close to about 100 listing appointments this year.
Okay. Right. So 10%
Mhm.
of these listing appointments will take this cash offer.
But
Yeah.
you probably don't present that cash offer to every appointment, do you? Right?
No, we bring it up, but we usually say, I'll go, this probably isn't for you. But I always think it's important that we offer this just as an example of the services that we provide. This is for and again, because I'm dealing with like a high-end vacation home, it's paid off, like they don't need a cash offer, right? But I bring it up and I say this probably isn't for you, but I always like to share it just so you know in case you know of someone. So we bring it up, but no, I would say six or seven times out of 10, they just go, oh, that's nice. And we move on because
Well,
that's our market.
Justin, I have questions around just organizing resources, right? So, Darren, it sounds like you're the one underwriting the deals for the team. Is that right? So
Yep.
they're the one that they bring the opportunity and to you and say, hey, this could be a cash offer, or they want a cash offer. You underwrite the deal.
Yep.
You guys present the deal within 48 hours. This is a tactical question, right? Is the offer presented in the team name, or is it a separate LLC that it's presented in, right? I would
question.
imagine it's a separate LLC that it's presented in. Okay.
Separate LLC, and we make it very clear that we're investors in that entity.
In that entity.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And uh, is the team, okay, here's another tax point. Is the team participate in the profit share of that entity? Or is that really just the owners of that entity that are taking the risk? Or how do you typically think about that?
This is something that we're growing through right now. We absolutely want our agents to benefit. Interestingly, and I'll be transparent here, when we opened up a flip recently and said, "Hey, we're going to team fund this. Like you get like however much money you put in, if that's 10% of the deal, you're going to get 10% of the profits, right? Bring as much or as little as you want. I don't care if it's $1,000. We only had me and 2 agents of our 10 who wanted to jump in. And this was like a slam dunk home run, like no brainer. Our returns were north of 25% cash on cash in about 5 months. So it was like, whoa, this is crazy. So it was a huge aha for me, twofold. Number one, I want to create more opportunities like that, like you did with your Airbnb. We love creating those opportunities for our agents. And number two, if you are a team agent, I think it was eye-opening to me to say, oh my gosh, I'm thinking about this all the time. Am I not teaching it and talking about it enough so that you all feel confident and comfortable making this investment? And do we need to dive into your financials to make sure that you have the money to do it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Darren, it's interesting because like you're speaking my love language when it comes to this. It's about making what people think is invisible in their life visible.
Yep.
And it's just a shift of thinking more than anything else. And so we are on a mission to help agents build wealth by understanding this side of the game because they need to have every tool in the toolbox. Like I always say, this is like understanding real estate from a 360 perspective versus just a very narrow lens of what we're typically taught at the brokerage level, which is fine, right?
That's right.
Which is fine, which is a starting point. But if you're going to build a life and a career, you need to open your mind to all the different options and tools out there available. So that's cool. So you guys have said, like you presented with a separate LLC, you're
Mhm.
giving team members the ability to participate in those deals if they want, which is
Yes.
what you're doing is you're opening up visibility to them about what's possible.
Yep.
Um, yeah, is this a on purpose vertical, meaning like, do you have a team that's just strictly targeting pre-foreclosures? Or like how are you organizing resources there?
Yeah, so this is the curse of like if you spend too much time with me, I'm gonna force you to get into real estate. Not force. You're just gonna just fall into the bubble, right? Like you come in. So my fiance, who's actually a contractor by trade, he was in roofing, started making phone calls with me. He was a door-to-door, he sold solar and wasn't afraid to knock on doors and make phone calls. So he's really leaned into our pre-foreclosures. And it's been really fun and really cool to watch. It's so relational. Like it is
Oh
so
yeah.
relational, these conversations, these connections. And we like I said last night, we went to meet with a potential seller and we got to hear her story and just be a person to just listen to, this woman's had a really like rough go at it and she really needs to offload this property. So it's really, I think, cool to be that person in your community. And I certainly had that idea that a lot of us have that there's this stigma or that we're trying to, screw over old ladies and get them out of their house. And it's like, no, every person that we've done a deal with has said thank you. And so
Yeah.
that feels really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Years ago, Darren, I built a blog called Virginia. This was during the financial crisis called Virginia Short Sale Advice. Like, and um, the hook was get your 10 steps to short sale freedom. Essentially, it was like, how do you free yourself from this problem that you have? And I like the number of thank yous and I love you and oh my God, I feel so much better. And like people are scared and they don't know where to turn. And if you could be a light in a very difficult situation and help people move forward, it becomes a very rewarding vertical to work, right? So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And And it makes me even more motivated. Like I said, when we go to the foreclosure auction and we buy them there, and every time I go, oh, I wish we could have helped you through this 6 months
Yeah.
ago, right before you got here. So it motivates me to do it even more. Yeah.
What's your price point, Darren? What's the median?
Our team's average price point is 560.
Okay.
I will tell you that is predominantly because we deal in a retirement community that has a little bit of a lower price point, but on Hilton Head Island where I live, the average single family home is north of 1 million. So we deal in those, but I think it's also important to note like there's a home that went into foreclosure recently that's valued north of 3.5 million, and with some
Oh yeah.
rent it'll be 5 million. So don't pigeonhole yourself or tell yourself that there's, that there's
I
limits or there's certain price points that are more likely to be in these scenarios.
I have a client who had a property listed with another agent, and it was a $1.5 million, $1.45 million foreclosure vacation rental,
Mhm.
right? The agent advised, hey, leave all of your personal possessions after you gave the foreclosure because these come furnished. They stripped everything. This was a beautiful, and now it's on the market for 950. And the whole thing just makes me as another agent. So there's only so much you can do, like I can't I'm not a fiduciary, and it just
Right.
makes me like sick to my stomach. And like I could have helped you with the short sale. Like I've lived through this before. I started my career negotiating short sales
Yep.
in this area, like in the Smokies. We're starting to see them come back. And I love it because representation matters, right? We just had Rob. You met Rob before, kind of guy Rob is. Darren, right? This is not maybe our vision of like what a cash offer investor that's coming in here, right? It
Mhm.
is providing options to the consumer.
Yeah.
No, I love it. What do you wish we'd asked you that we haven't asked you yet?
Ooh, that is such a good question. I think I guess I wish that we had talked a little bit more about structuring other options for sellers, but we can get into that on the
Okay.
podcast or something, because for some people it's not that they need to sell right now. For some people, we talked about before, subject to, we talked about sometimes people just need a little bit of time to get caught up on the mortgage payments, and then they're going to pay it off later, or we're going to sell it later and do those renovations. So renovate now, pay at closing. I think in this amount of time, I'm glad that we focused on one, but in the
Yep.
future, let's talk about even more services for your sellers, because again, when you approach it with that perspective of like, how can I help these people? What do they actually need? It changes
I
it.
would I would love that. And here's what I'm gonna do. We don't normally do this actually. Kind of a shameless plug for Grid, right? So Grid is the largest agent-led investor network in the country. Rob was just on, he founded it. I'm director of expansion. We run one of these totally free community. If you go to the YouTube channel, Grid Investor, you're gonna see over 350 videos, right? Hour-long conversations like us walking through and doing this. Yesterday, I got to talk to Leo Pareja and Chris Voss for a minute, which was crazy. And he was just talking about learning the language, right? Learning the language and familiarizing ourselves. Because what I'm struck with, Drew, has been this has been sticking in my head. I dropped it in the chat. 85% of agents will retire with only the equity in their primary residence. And so, like, getting like those poor people that, man, if just invest 1,000 so you can just see how it works. Like
Yep.
those, if they could just get a little bit and then like take on the identity of like I'm an investor.
That's
Wow,
right. That's
like
right.
great. Like it's that first journey of like stepping into like, you
Yep.
know, oh, this is what investing looks like. It is just me putting up, I'm making money on my money for once. I'm deploying capital to get capital back instead of what so many of us stay trapped in is I'm a practitioner. I'm deploying my capital and my time to make money,
hmm hmm
which is a very different process.
And I love that you said that, Justin. It can be $1,000. Like, do not think that you have to have $100,000 to be an investor. You can create partnerships, you can join syndications, you can plug into your grid network. One of I don't think I even talked about this, but before I bought my rental property, I actually did a hard money deal. I had like $30,000 and that was, it wasn't quite enough to like buy another home. And I lent it to someone that I knew through Keller Williams, and it was a hard money situation. And I remember
Mhm.
reading this and I go, wait, I just give them this money and then in 6 months they give me this much plus 15% back? That seems like, why wouldn't I do that? It seemed too simple. And then when I did it and it actually happened, I was like, I get it. I get it. I'm an investor. I'm gonna think like this now, and it just unlocked things for me. So yeah, start with what you
How
have.
long, how long did it take you? So we talk about, and the reason I talk about cash machine and wealth machine is it's going to frame this for you, right? Cash machine is I'm doing investment activity or sales or whatever to generate additional cash.
Mhm.
Wealth machine is I have additional cash. So like your dentist, they don't need a dish. They're not trying to be an active income. They don't want a second job. They don't want to wholesale
Right.
and flip. He wants to just deploy capital.
That's right.
He's just looking for a place to park his money. For you, how long did it take you from that first hard money deal to
Mhm.
where you got enough passive income to fund your life?
I am, oh gosh, I keep upgrading my life, which is really the problem. So
Yeah.
I'm not 100% there yet. And it's on my calendar. Like we have this mapped out, and I'll tell you guys, I'm even moving out of just the rental space and moving it into the finance space. If you've ever read books by George Antone, The Wealthy Code, The Debt Code, The Debt Millionaire, we're coaching with them now. And so we're about 36 months out from our not just like our base needs, but like whole life being passively funded. And
Okay.
that's
Ooh.
really exciting. That's really
Well,
cool.
let's say the base. Like, how long did it take you from when you started? Your expenses were probably what did it take to fund your life when you were in your late 20s?
Oh yeah, at least 6 years, like
Okay.
6 or 7. Which at that time I'm like, oh my gosh, it's forever. But it's like, oh my gosh, this is you're not that far. 7 years are going to pass no matter what, right? Like you're going to that time will pass, and you can make it happen. I know this market's weird, and deals might be harder to come by. It just means we got to talk to more people. We got to make more offers. That's all it is.
Anybody in the chat, as Lauren, you've been jumping on, Hater, I think I've talked to you before. Anyone have any questions, Chris? Let's open it up. Drew, you got any? I know Drew is there like a real coach taking notes the whole time.
Yeah,
Who's got
I
some
wrote down a
questions?
lot of stuff, but no questions. I'm just ripping off and duplicating.
I love it. I
Daryn, are you looking for more? Are you looking for more? How can we connect with you? Drop Daryn's contact in the chat. Are you looking for more cash? You got some deals to
Always,
fund.
always. You got money for us, we'll take it. Yeah, we're always looking, we're always making offers. So please, I'm gonna put my email in the chat too. And feel free to just shoot me an email connecting. I'd love to hear what you guys took away from today. And if you do have follow-up questions that you don't want to ask right now, or maybe we don't have enough time, send me an email and we'll connect.
Shrew's got money. I've got and then are you investing in any other markets or are you sticking just in Hilton Head?
I do hard money outside of Hilton Head, but we flip here. So we've got our money in a couple flip projects right now, which is super fun. And it's a job. It's very different than investing. Like do not get that confused. We spend a lot of time and energy and what we love it. It feels really great to make your area a little bit more beautiful and to breathe some life back into these homes. So that's our day job.
I love that. Do you have any, if you're looking at your crystal ball, mine's pretty foggy, but maybe yours isn't. What do you think? What do you see happening in the market in the next year?
I think right now the one thing we all agree on is there's more confusion and misinformation than ever on both buyer and seller sides. So, regardless of what happens, what I know I can control is sharing accurate information, having honest conversations with buyers and sellers about their equity, their purchasing power. I think
Hmm.
I think one thing, as we all like wrap our heads around the AI revolution that's happening, one thing that becomes more and more apparent to me is that face-to-face and human connections are the only thing that can't be replicated or that can't become, at scale and outsourced. So that becomes more valuable because when everyone else is leaning into AI, I'm going to lean into, I'll use AI to help me have more real human conversations. So I don't know. Yeah, Justin, my crystal ball's a little foggy right now too, but I think what that tells me is that we're needed more than ever. True fiduciaries are necessary more than ever.
And so this is going to wrap. I think it's a great thing. So I jumped on this call, talked to Leo, talked to Chris Voss. I've met Leo. Leo, by the way, is the CEO of my company. It's 83,000 agents. Met him in person, and he was like, "Hey, look, Justin's an example. You can." He's like, "I did the same thing with Chris. Like, I just get into relation with people that I want to know." And he's like, "People that have a lot of money are some of the most generous, giving people that you'll meet." What I think is interesting is in this agent investor space, like many of people at the top are some of the most relationally oriented people that right? It's be more human.
Be
Be
more.
more human more of the time with more people, right?
Yes.
Which maybe not what you think about. Like it's you got to know your numbers and things, but those are just a vehicle to have like a real conversation with people.
Yes. And I think as an investor, I thought too, I'm like, oh no, this is going to get really, it's going to be all about the numbers and the spreadsheets. And I have found that my relationships matter even more. Right now, a huge focus is we're revisiting our banking relationships, and trying to build better banking relationships with local banks who are going to, be more generous with their lines of credit. Like that matters instead of just going to Bank of America where I'm just like another number and I just have to go on the app and
Mhm.
or whatever. So yeah, the relationships matter even more the further you get into your investing journey.
I did see one question that popped up one in there that was like often for people, I think Warren might have said this. The question is, where do I go? And providing solutions for
Hmm.
that seller so the seller that wants a cash offer may much want the convenience.
Hmm.
Any suggestions on like, do you have any ahas or any hacks on what's the most common problem I see with that person of like what solution I'm providing besides just the cash offer that's coming up? Is it moving help? Is it I've got a
Yeah, in
relationship with
area again,
storage? Yeah.
we're a lot of seniors, like we're an aging population. We work in retirement communities. Sometimes it's the actual seniors, and then sometimes it's their kids, right? Like the
Hmm.
estate is selling or the kids. If it's the seniors, a lot of time it is moving help and support, and sometimes they need someone to come sit with them and fill out the paperwork by hand, or talk about those things. We are glad to do it because that's how we earn our commission. We're glad to do it, right? Sometimes when
Hmm.
they're like, I don't want any of this furniture, like I don't want the grandma couch. We've built relationships with an auction house that will come haul it away, and they take their cut, but then the sellers get a large portion of it. So again, relationships, like we've got relationships with the movers, we've got relationship with the storage people, we've got relationship with the auction house. um with the senior population, that's what we hear more than anything, is just getting rid of stuff. So yeah.
I love it. So if you've got a client in the Greater Hilton Head area, Daryn, the Joan Kelly Group have you covered if you want, but truly connect with Daryn. Like she loves having these conversations,
I do.
um, and go out there and make a cash offer. Think about a cash offer. I encourage you just to ask the clients, even if you're not ready to make it, like just curious. Like sometimes investors call me, would you be interested in exploring a cash offer? You can do that tomorrow with no preparation. What's the worst they could say is
100.
like, yeah, I'd be interested. And you'd be like, hey, I asked, I couldn't find anyone. Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna, if you present it correctly, it's not gonna stop anything. And come ask us. We'll kind of walk you through how to do one.
Yes. You call me, you call Justin, you call Rob, like you call Grid, you call us if they say yes.